Hi friends, welcome everyone to Professor Sathya Sai English Literature Made Easy channel. So today we are going to see Civil Disobedience by Thoreau.
This essay expresses Thoreau's principle of passive resistance and the moral superiority of the individual conscience to the governmental law. Thoreau begins this essay, Civil Disobedience, with an elegant statement. I quote here that government is best which governs least, unquote. So, this is the statement of principles of civil disobedience. President Payne Jefferson, in his first inaugural address in 1801, was reported to have considered this as other founder of republic as a fundamental principle, and this fundamental principle is to be implemented in the first 10 amendments to the Constitution guaranteeing individual liberties. Thoreau's wish is to see this to be implemented more rapidly and systematically. He wishes to see all this to be developed further and reaches a state in which, again I quote, that government is best which governs not at all, unquote. He believes that every individual has the right to perform his duty freely. It is not fair on the part of the government to interfere in his freedom. Because according to Thoreau, the government is a machinery to fulfill the wishes of the individuals. It should not overrule the individual at any point of time. He says, I quote here, that government itself, which is only the mode which the people have chosen to execute their will, unquote. He says that the Mexican War is an example for how a government can be abused and perverted by the few corrupt individuals. According to Thoreau, America's war with Mexico in 1846 to 48 was an empire building exercise, and it was perpetrated by Southern politicians as a way of extending their domain of slavery. Thoreau criticizes American government and said it had not the vitality and force of a single living man, because a single man can bend it to his will. In this essay, Thoreau warns about misuse of power by the majority in a democratic government. The rule by majority is likely to be unfair to the minority, and it may not be based on justice in all cases, but based on physical strength. According to Thoreau, in an ideal government, the majority should not decide what is right or wrong, but the conscience of the individual. Under no circumstance we should allow our conscience to be threatened by law. Rights of individual should not be compromised at any situation. The conscience of an individual must be given freedom to do what he thinks as right. And here, Thoreau warned, I quote here, law never made men a whit man or more just. Even the well-disposed are made the agent of injustice. I unquote. The men and who work for the government against the common sense and against their own conscience are not as a men mainly but a machines and with their bodies. And he criticizes men who act to the government's will against their moral sense, and he calls them wood, earth, stones, and they are men of straw or a lump of dirt. The government treats those who work with their common sense and act according to their own moral conscience and resist the unfair practices of the government as its enemies. To Thoreau, they are the real heroes, and they are the martyrs and reformers. They serve the state with their conscience. Every man has the right to resist the tyrannical government. When a government is inefficient and unendurable, he must refuse allegiance. Honest man should refuse and revolutionize when the government turn to be a machine of oppression and indulge in established robbery. Thoreau criticizes thus the so-called honest men or the patriot who remain a mute spectator for the Mexican War. I quote here, "They hesitate and they regret and sometimes they petition, but they do nothing in earnest and with an effect." In protest of slavery, Thoreau refused to pay tax. I quote here, "I paid no poll tax for 6 years. I was put in jail, and he spent a night in jail." He said, "Under a government which imprisons any unjustly, the true place for just man is also a prison." Thoreau further criticizes American government thus, I quote here, "No man with genius for legislation has appeared in America. They are rare in the history of the world," I unquote. There are orators, politicians, and eloquent men. We love eloquence for its own sake, not for the truth. Thus, United States fits his criteria for unjust government. It supported slavery and practiced war. He advises his men, if a government is unjust, refuse to follow it and distance oneself from it and resist to its unjust practices.